That's for you two fucking assholes in the fucking cocksuckers. Right there. Read it and fucking weep, you pieces of shit. Right there, you fuckers. Alright. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? As you can see, Drew is not here tonight because he is busy with other things. If he gets here in time, he will join us, but it all depends. With that being said, welcome to episode 17 of Wrestling Memories. As you can see, I have a lovely tattooed mistress behind me. She's eating dinner. You gonna say hi or you just gonna eat?
I smile.
Oh, okay. And then sitting next to tattooed mistress and the other fucking right there.
You had it right the first time.
Yeah, I know I did. You got Bobbitt, you fucking. I got your fucking smoked sausage, motherfucker. I'm telling you. Keep fucking saying that shit. Motherfuckers. I swear to God.
What are you gonna do? Hit me with the cookie sheet?
I may. But you got Bobbitt sitting next to Heather, and then next to Bobbitt is the Sinizter One. As everybody knows, he wasn't feeling good on Tuesday. Just give me a second.
Oh, he's getting that smoked sausage primed and ready.
Go ahead.
For later tonight.
Around 7:30. Okay. All right. Yep.
Brother doesn't know how to not interrupt. But whatever. So anyway, I got the Sinizter One. Y'all know he wasn't here. Was it Monday? Or was it Tuesday? It was Monday. He stepped out sick. He's feeling better. It's up to him if he wants to tell you what's going on with him or not. It's his choice. But so he's back. He's back with us. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling a lot better, man. Yeah, I mean, I it's not like it's, real personal or anything like that. Basically, the reason why I left Tuesday was because, basically what it is, guys, is after about a year ago, I had a really bad accident. And I basically almost had a heat stroke. And because of that, I'm not able to really be as productive as I used to be. And the result of that is my body can't, and it takes a lot for me to stay hydrated, like more than most. Well, Tuesday I had a mini episode, and then today I had a mini episode where I almost passed out. So they took me to the clinics, and basically doctors are saying that there's some changes that is my fault. I allowed it myself to get that way. But I'm going to have to be making some life changes because basically if I keep going the way I'm going, that I will just, I will pretty much do irreparable damage. So, but I'm fine now. I've already made some of the changes, and I'm feeling a lot better today. And now it's just going through the process of doing what I got to do to get myself healthy again.
Well, that's good to hear. I hope you're okay. It says that Stephen Cope got hit riding his bike. He says he's doing all right. It's just a scrape on his knee. Thank God. Watch out there. There's people out there that just don't give a fuck about others. Just fucking saying, everybody. So we're gonna kind of do this a little differently tonight. Is there any news out there that anybody knows of before we get started that they may have heard or have not heard?
Actually, I do have some news. Apparently, I don't remember. I think it's called the Eve, but it's a promotion in the UK that they are in response to WWE having the Saudi Arabia event tomorrow, that they are going to have an all-women's event in the UK available free. It's somewhere on Twitter. I don't know where the link is, but I thought that was pretty interesting that that they did that as an alternative to, and they are promoting it as an alternative to the event in Saudi Arabia, which I told you. I told you something like that might happen.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that, and I read an article today that they are trying to change the laws. They're getting close to changing the laws in Saudi Arabia to a point where women are going to be allowed to drive. They're actually allowing women to drive. They're allowing them to get jobs soon. I mean, that's going to be happening. Probably not next year, but within the next couple of years. They're transitioning. You got to remember, people, this country is founded on Sharia law, and Sharia law does not allow women to participate in what men are allowed to do. Like they can't be out in public like men can. They have to be covered from head to toe. It's just that's their law. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, they're trying to modernize that. They're trying to westernize themselves, if that makes sense, because they want to be like us. They still want to believe in Islam, which Islam is really no damn different than our religion. The difference is they believe, if you understand the real culture of Islam, they believe that Muhammad is the last prophet. They believe that Jesus Christ was a prophet. He was not the Son of God.
Do we really want to get into this?
No, but I just want people to understand the difference between the two religions. They don't. The Christianity religion believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Islam is a form of Christianity. So
it's all a form of Judaism.
It started out that way, but then it branched off. But anyway, but I just wanted to hit that. They're trying to change their laws. They want to become more westernized. They want to involve women. Women want to be involved. You know this. I know this. They know this. Saudi Arabia is taking that step. I think it's going to happen within the next couple of years. When it happens, you will see probably a women's first over there as well. It's just the way the WWE operates. But other than that, I mean, I haven't heard anything. Bobbitt, have you heard anything?
Yeah. Apparently during the show they're going to have an hour of nothingness because it's a prayer thing that's really big in that country.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Yep, they have that. It's a prayer that they have. It's like an hour prayer. So they can actually that gives them time to get a break, and then they can. Whatever. That's just the way. That's their culture. It's the way it is, and we gotta accept it for what it is.
And Cody, I have no idea.
I'm not. I'm staying out this one because if I get going, I'm going to get in trouble.
No, I'm not going to go into the religion thing. We're good. I just wanted to touch on what I heard through the grapevine. I read an article that was saying that they're trying to change their culture, and it has a lot to do with their religion. That's why women cannot be able to participate this year. That's the reason why. It's the religion. It's not that they're racist, fascist pigs. Okay?
And by the way, I also heard that WWE reached out to Shawn Michaels to see if he would wrestle in the Greatest Royal Rumble, and he flat out said, "There's no way."
Well, he loves what he is doing right now. He didn't want anything to do with.
And who's to blame him? I mean, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, realistically, when you think about that, HBK was one of the very few wrestlers that when he retired from WWE, he stayed retired.
I mean, every now and then he'll pop into the ring and he'll do his, you know what I mean? He'll pop in the ring and do a super kick on somebody or something, or he'll take a super kick or whatever. But, yeah, he retired from in-ring competition. There's a difference, people. There's a difference. In-ring competition means he's actually competing against somebody. Whereas he can step into the ring and do a super kick on somebody. That's not competition. That's just doing a spot. Doing a segment. So we're going to start off. We're going to talk about... Let's start off with this. This question is posed. Was the Attitude Era overrated? I'm going to say, you know, you going to shut the door? Oh. Gator, come on.
Come on, Gator.
Get in here. Come on, get in here. Golly. I'm going to say it was, I'm going to say yes and no, because this is a problem the WWE is having now. And I'm probably going to answer for everybody, and they can add to it, because the reason I say yes is because think about what the WWE is going through today. They have to compete with what happened back then. They're trying to make up for that. How are they making up for it? I don't know. They ain't doing a very good job of it. But people are just so, like, WWE thinks they're here, you know, and the fans are like, no, you guys aren't, you guys are way the fuck down here. Whereas the Attitude Era and the fans were even up. I mean, they were up here and the fans were up here. The Attitude Era was just, was an anomaly.
Yeah.
If I could say so. The reason I say no is because the Attitude Era was just, it was great storytelling. It was great wrestling. Just it had a combination of everything that was good about it, so it can't be overrated, but it is overrated now because what they're giving us now is underrated. It's hard for me to explain it. I really don't know what I'm getting at, but I'm going to say yes and no. Bobbitt, what about yourself?
Well, I'll say yes and no too, for the simple fact that you got these fans out here that wants to compare now to the Attitude Era.
There
you
go.
Can't do that because these are completely separate times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the WWE has no competition right now. Back then, WCW was a serious player in the game. You know, they stated multiple times if they didn't do what they did back then, they would have been out of business. We would have had only WCW currently. And, you know, you might like WCW or you might hate WCW. I don't know. I don't know what your opinions about that is. But I don't see WCW being any better than what WWE currently is right now. Mm-hmm. Because even back then, their WCW storylines was kind of absolute garbage, like the finger poke of doom. Like, who thought that was a good idea? And I'm also going to say no because, like I said, back then it was really, really, really good because you had these two like big entities combined, you know, butting heads, and you wanted to see the end result of those two butting. You know, you wanted to see who would come out on top, who was the big dog, and you know, like I said, we don't have that now. So stop trying to compare back then to now. You can't do it because they're two different things.
I agree.
Well, on top of that, you don't have the same kind of talent that you had back then that you do now.
Yeah.
Since you spoke up, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Attitude Era is what got them into trouble and has got them as far as they are now.
Okay, so it's a pretty much round table of agreeing. What about you, Johnny?
I'm going to phrase it like this. Was the Attitude overrated? No. Were some of the wrestlers? Yes. And this is why. Okay, I'm going to actually make the counterpoint to what Bobbitt was saying, that people compare about what happened back then. It was because it was the storylines and what we were given was so good that is sort of the Attitude Era by many is regarded as the greatest era of television for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start comparing, I mean, we can even go as far as this. We even compare wrestlers to this guy. Dolph Ziggler is a good example. Dolph Ziggler is often referred to as the second Shawn Michaels, or like John Cena was the next Rock, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you can make these comparisons on who they kind of mirror, and and I agree, that's a bad thing because these are supposed to be their own individuals.
Right.
And I think it is a bad thing. I think what you guys are trying to say is that it was overrated in the sense of that now it seems like nothing will ever be as good when the Attitude Era itself had its own problems.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
But it's hard not to sit there and go back and say that it wasn't as good as people make it out to be, because the thing is we do go back and we look at it and we say, man, that was just an awesome time.
Right.
That was an awesome time to be a fan. What did everything work? No. There were some, the Headbangers was one of them. That didn't work. The Steve Austin heel turn, that didn't work. I mean, there were clearly some things that really did not work in the Attitude Era, but the problems that they had were few and far in between as to what the problems are now.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at it over as a whole, I can't say that it's overrated because of how much influence the Attitude Era had on the survival of WWE. If the Attitude Era hadn't happened, we may be watching Ted Turner wrestling.
Yep.
And Bobbitt hit on that.
Bobbitt and titties.
Sorry, man. What's up, basement? But yeah, I mean, what does everybody in the chat think? What do you guys think? Do you think that and you can ask to be added to the call, and you can give us your input on what you think. Why don't you tell us what you think? Not in the chat with a yes or a no. If you want to be added to the call, let Mr. Bobbitt know, or somebody in the chat. If I see it, we'll add you to the call. What did you guys think of the Attitude Era? Was it overrated or was it not? And if so, why? If not, why?
Now, while we're waiting on that, I could make the argument on why it is overrated. Why it is overrated, because when we look at today,
mm-hmm.
people shit on Finn Balor. There's people that shit on Finn Balor a lot because he has a small moveset. Or Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a good example. He has a very limited moveset. Well,
mm-hmm.
if you go back and you have that in mind of what the guys are doing today versus what Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing back in the Attitude Era, you kind of realize that Austin didn't really have that big of a moveset.
I agree.
Neither did The Rock. These guys had very set movesets, where the difference is that the character is what makes it, and
yep.
which is why I'm gonna throw this out there. Me and JP widely disagree on The Miz. We can pretty much agree on that, at least on that point. We have a very different opinion of The Miz, and that's okay. That's perfect, and that's okay. But what I'm saying is, the reason why, and this explains why, and it'll explain why I like The Miz so much, is because even though, yeah, he's not the greatest in-ring performer, but he has the character.
Yeah.
And in the Attitude Era, you had a lot of guys that really didn't have, if you compared them to today's standards, they aren't the greatest, they aren't necessarily the best wrestlers out there, but they had the character. And that's what drew you in. Was there good wrestling? Oh, hell yeah. There was some really good wrestling back then. But it was the character that got you drew in. And that's the biggest difference between today and then. You could almost get, and which is why I've said on repeated, which I have said on The Miz, is whether you like him or hate him, he's probably the last true heel in the company, with maybe the exception of Samoa Joe now that he's in the company. Right. But there for a while, The Miz was realistically the last kind of true heel in the company, because he had the character, and realistically, he's about the only one that still kind of has that.
Right.
He has the character that is very Attitude Era-esque.
I think the only thing that we disagree on, and yes, I do disagree with you on The Miz, and his moveset is terrible. Even a limited moveset that he has,
it's all stolen.
It's nothing original from him, to be honest with you. Everything that he has is, I mean,
right, a lot of his stuff is stolen, but that's also part of the gimmick.
I understand that, but that, to me, that just does not warrant a championship style. Not his mouthpiece. Fuck yeah, it deserves a title. The mouthpiece itself deserves a title. But the wrestler himself, his gimmick, yeah, I like his gimmick. I just don't like his moveset. I just can't buy it, I guess.
Right, I can completely, because I think the one misconception, I don't think he deserves necessarily a world title run, but an he's like the perfect mid-card guy.
I agree with you 1,000% on that.
He's the perfect, and to me, some of my favorite wrestlers are not the top guys.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And so I think that was the misconception. I never really thought that he was a main event kind of champion, but I love him as a mid-card champion.
Yeah. Basement said, I think a lot of people look at the Attitude Era with rose-tinted glasses, and they do. A lot of people
Yes, they do.
There was some great shit, but there was a lot of bad shit as well, and that is so true. What she always talks about, the women being used as sex objects, was really bad, because it is not allowed the
W. Nothing to their talent.
Exactly, it has not helped the WWE. The women, they keep on saying this women movement, but every time they take a step forward,
they gotta take 2 steps.
They gotta take 2 steps back, and that sucks. TSS says the only overrated thing about the Attitude Era was the titles had some very short reigns, one day, a couple of weeks. Like, what titles? I mean, the WWE title, the WWE WWF title, I mean, Stone Cold held it for 6 months at a time. He had it taken off of him that one day, and the very next day he won it back. I mean, so it wasn't, I don't remember, a couple of weeks. Mankind, yes, because he was not. The reason they put the title on Mankind was because he was a fan favorite, and it was part of the story for him.
You know
what I mean?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Because I want to speak to. I do agree that a lot of the segments that they did with the women were, by today's standards, yes, it's not good. But you also have to remember, the Attitude Era also gave us Lita and Trish Stratus for the main event of Monday Night Raw for the title. And the thing is that I think also where we run into trouble with that is we're looking at it from what society kind of dictates today. Mm-hmm. Whereas back then, you got to remember, WWE, back then WWF, was TV-14. It was edgy. It was, it pushed the boundaries because it had that rating. And not excusing some of the... Now, that's not to excuse what they did, but you also got to remember what's going on at that time. Is during that time, you had a lot of where people value, people were talking, TV needs to be wholesome and nothing obscene. This is the thing, is that what I always see is that it always flips in cycles. Mm-hmm. People either want to be morally objective or they want to be offensively objective.
Right.
And it's gone back and forth several times before. Trust me, I'm the last person to be a fan of an SJW, but it's not like we haven't gone through this before.
Right.
And it goes through cycles. And so when I look, I don't necessarily condemn them for a lot of the things that they did back then, because it was combating a toxic culture.
Right.
In a sense.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
No, but Johnny, you also got to look at it this way. How many women were on that roster back then?
I can't remember how many were. There was quite a few.
There were quite a few, yes. It was over 10. I can't remember the exact number. But it was over 10 women. But when it came to just strictly wrestling matches, only 4 women come to mind. Lita, Trish, Mickie James, and Victoria.
Well, you got to throw China in there as well.
No. Hey, Bobbitt. I hate to interrupt. Hey, Bobbitt. Did you add him? Did you add Drew?
Oh, okay. I didn't know you want to be added.
I forgot to tell you to add him at the beginning. My bad.
I get what you're saying, Heather, and I agree with you. The women should have been promoted in the ring a lot more. But here's the flip side of that. The women are promoted a lot more in the ring, but they have no story.
Right.
Whereas back then they had story.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of storyline behind. So I think
behind bikini matches, the putting in a pool match, the food fights, the pillow fights. Yeah, there's stories behind that.
I think she's disagreeing with you.
Well, I get it. Yeah, it's not. It wasn't the tasteful, but you also have to remember back then there wasn't that many women watching wrestling.
That's true.
Statistically, there was not a lot of women that watched us wrestling. It was more catered to men.
Yes.
Now, as time has progressed and we've evolved as a society, that women have come more into the fold and started taking a real interest in wrestling because they have good, competitive women wrestling. But where I'd like to see is that there was actual storyline with these women today. And that's what we got in the Attitude Era. Yeah, it was bikini matches, and it was pillow fights, and it was mud wrestling. But at the same time, there was a conversation about what they were doing. They had backstage segments. In fact, you could go back and watch the Attitude Era. They were featured a lot more prominently back then. Mm-hmm. in promos and segments, whereas today, yeah, you have the competitiveness, and yeah, we finally have women in the ring, which is a good thing, but they only get 1 or 2 segments.
Well, if you look at the product as a whole today, we barely get backstage segments at all anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't really go by that, because there's not much to compare it to.
No.
Today.
You're right.
And yes, we're getting competitive women, but we don't have the storylines behind it. That's because we have a very soft creative team that basically just writes 2 sentences, gives it to Vince, and Vince sits there and says, no, do something different.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's kind of the point. That kind of feeds into the point. As a whole, yes, you don't have a lot of backstage segments, but if you're wondering, well, what the hell is going on? Well, look at back then. Yeah, they weren't. Only about 5 women really wrestled and in legitimate matches, but you also got more story out of it than you do today, and that's across the board.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, we have our host is finally here, Drew. How's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for letting me on finally.
Take over the show, please. Take over the show, please. No, I'm just kidding. So, since I have you here, we're talking about the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I've been listening because I was ready a half hour ago.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot that. I just started.
I'm sorry, Drew.
No, it's my fault.
You're all fine. No, I'm kidding. I will say this before anything. I am surrounded by mountains, so if Skype doesn't hold out, then you know why.
Yeah.
It's the valleys between them peaks.
I love the valleys between the peaks. But anyway, so...
Gooch tickle.
Gooch tickle. But we were talking about the Attitude Era, whether or not it was overrated.
I agree with a lot of what was said. As far as it's actually not a whole lot different. Here's where I'm going to differ. It's not a whole lot different from today in the aspect of the storylines are better than the wrestling. Now, I know you're going to say, wait a minute, the storylines suck today.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Are you saying the storylines are better in the Attitude Era or now?
They are better in the Attitude Era.
Okay, I was going to say, what the fuck kind of shit have you been smoking?
With some exceptions, and I know the chat's going to say, well, what about AJ? What about Shinsuke? Blah, blah, blah. But overall, the wrestling fucking sucks, and so does the storylines. But the storylines, I think, edged out the wrestling overall, with the exception of those anomalies I just mentioned. That was the same in the Attitude Era. The story, as Johnny said, the story is what made the wrestling better, not so much the wrestling itself.
Right.
So it's like trying to say that Sunny Delight is orange juice. And, you know, it's maybe that's a horrible analogy. I suck at analogies, but, you know, you could say you're drinking orange juice, but you're really not. The Attitude Era is, you know, fucking fresh squeezed orange juice. And right now we're drinking Sunny Delight. That's what we're watching today, you know. With that said, I don't think it was overrated. I think we were spoiled. There were writers that knew how to write for wrestling. There were wrestlers that knew how to be entertaining and were allowed to be entertaining. And we were just spoiled. It was kind of the Wild West. I know Joe uses that term a lot to describe things, but it was the Wild West of wrestling. There were no limits. You had Scott Hall on TNN saying the word bullshit over and over, and no one was hitting the censor button. Yeah. You had Bobby Heenan blurting the word what the fuck, and no one hit the button. Because it's like, oh, it's live TV, what are you going to do? Yeah. And, you know, finally, eventually, people buttoned their shit up and went, you know, the FCC finally went, you guys are going to have to figure out how to hit that button, or we're going to start passing out fines. Yeah. So, you know, the Wild West came to an end. And certainly cursing is not a necessity to get wrestling to work, to be another sees the viewership. It's never going to be there. If wrestling got more over than it was in the Attitude Era, not going to be 10 million people watching an epic segment. It's never going to happen again. Get your money off of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have cable anymore. I'm either watching it on Hulu or not at all, and then watching pay-per-views. Now, the share, the rating, but that's going to be difficult as well because there's twice as many channels now.
Correct.
So, really, there's no comparison. It's not going to happen again. But as far as the initial question of was it overrated, no, I think it's the wrong question. The question should be, were we spoiled? Yes, we were spoiled.
You could still ask the question if it was overrated, though. You can still ask the question.
No.
There are people out there that think the golden age of wrestling is probably the best that WWF has ever been. I mean, I just want to take a frying pan and smack them over the head with it, but that being said, there are some people that say today is better than the Attitude Era. And the reason, here's where I disagree with you, though. It's not that the wrestling is bad, it's that the booking is terrible. The booking.
But that makes the wrestling bad.
Yeah, well, yes. But
it's not. I'm not saying it's the wrestler's fault. The wrestlers are perfectly capable.
No, I get that. The wrestling is good. The booking is bad, which in turn makes the wrestling look bad because they aren't getting enough time. I mean,
that's part of it too.
For fuck's sake, we had John Cena, and justifiably so. Thank God, I didn't watch the match at all, and I still haven't watched it. You got a 3-minute match with The Undertaker and John Cena at WrestleMania 34. Who cares? You know,
I sure as hell didn't.
That's what WWE is giving you, and they're calling it good, which is wrong.
Well, I would like to add a point to, you know, what people saying that, you know, the golden age was better, or this era is, or the ruthless aggression era was the best era. I have found, and this is just through pure observation, I don't have any research to back this up, but from what I've seen is whatever you grew up watching, you have that tendency to be very fond of that. So there is an implicit bias when it comes to what we think is what time of wrestling was the greatest time. Because a good example is my grandmother. She used to love watching wrestling in the, you know, the 60s and 70s when it was all territories. And when WWE came out, she found it absolutely appalling, whereas me, I found it was the greatest thing ever. So I have noticed that it tends to be what you grew up on. And I've noticed that a lot of the fans that say a particular era is the best era, 9 times out of 10 they grew up watching that era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at me. I was 26, 27 when the Attitude Era started. 25 when the Attitude Era started. I grew up with pretty much every single generation except for the very beginning of WWF. Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton. I've seen them all. And out of all of them, I will say this: the Ruthless Aggression Era was the happy medium. There was no. The women were actually utilized a lot better in the Ruthless Aggression Era. Not to say that they were overwhelmingly used. You know that. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things. I think that the Ruthless Aggression Era was a happy medium. You got a little bit of everything in that era, you know? Some good, some bad. But that's in any era. You're going to get some good, some bad. So moving on.
I've got something to...
Go ahead.
I've got a subtopic here.
Go ahead.
You mentioned you were 25 when the Attitude Era began?
It was 1997 was when the Attitude Era started.
When?
1997.
No, like exactly when? What was the moment?
The exact moment? We've discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
It was the moment, the day the Attitude Era started, for me, was the WrestleMania 13. The match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Right there is when the Attitude Era started.
Okay, Johnny, when did the Attitude Era start?
this is just because of the time that I started watching wrestling. For me, it started when Stone Cold stunned Vince McMahon.
Okay. Bobbitt?
For me, see, I started watching wrestling in '95. I didn't know it was called the Attitude Era.
Well, no one did.
So
I mean, it just
I
kinda
would
happened.
say WrestleMania 13.
Okay, so you're with JP on that. Heather?
The creation of Degeneration X.
Okay. I'm torn between two. In both cases, I'm disagreeing with everyone. One is the Austin 316 speech at King of the Ring, and the other one is when Vince McMahon came on screen and said that we have a new attitude moving forward. Both were in '96.
Yeah, he did. I understand that, but you got to think about it. '96, really? I mean, there was really nothing attitude about 1996, though. I mean, all he said is, "I'm going to come out and whoop your ass." They were saying "whoop your ass" a long time ago. I wouldn't. It's and to add to Johnny's point, just real quick. And I mean, that's just me though. To add to Johnny's point, the Monday after, I think, if I remember correctly, the night that Stone Cold stunned Vince McMahon was like a couple of weeks after WrestleMania 13. If I remember correctly.
Right. Well, and you also have to remember, back in those days, I actually couldn't watch the pay-per-views.
Right.
So, but I can see where Drew is coming from, because those two moments are almost kind of a prelude to what kicked it off.
Right. When you read a book, that's it's still the movie.
We lost Drew.
Yeah.
Drew, the Hills Have Eyes freaks has gotten you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better?
Good.
Yes. Don't move.
Okay. What I was saying was, when you watch a movie, the best part of the movie isn't the beginning normally.
No.
It's the prelude, as Johnny put it, to the rest of the movie. So that's why I say it started back then.
I can see why you're saying that. I mean, it actually, you want me to be honest with you? It started the day the fucking NWO was created. Bash at the Beach. So yes, 1996, because they were still fucking going down that. WWE was doing this. WCW was doing this. They were going up. WWF was going down.
That's also when WWF woke up and realized that they needed to get going, or they were going to sink.
It took them a good 7 months before they even started going. So it was like 1997 before they even started. Okay, I guess we got to do something now. So, I mean, we could sit here and
Debate this all night.
I mean, go ahead.
There is no clear law.
No.
There's no one thing.
No.
Fans agree on. That's what makes it a good debate.
Yeah.
And this is the second time we've had this discussion.
Yeah.
And that's why I bring it back up, because
No,
it's such
that's
a good one.
No, that's fine. I'm just, I mean, we can sit here and talk about this all night if we wanted to, but. But yeah, so. But yeah,
How about Hall of Fame wins and fails? What are some of the biggest wins? And what I mean by that is some of the best Hall of Fame inductions where you went, that's a good one. I'm glad they made that decision. And then, well, fuck is he? Like, putting Elijah Burke into the Hall of Fame. Sorry.
You know what? You want my honest opinion? I really could give two fucking shits about the Hall of Fame. Because they don't do it the fucking right goddamn way. They don't let the fans fucking vote on it. That's who they need.
Does the NFL?
Well, okay, sports writers. Sports writers vote on the Hall of Fame. Who writes? There's only like 3 people that write for fucking WWE. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but there isn't enough people out there to actually get a good, solid vote. You know what I mean? So, let the fans vote on it. Because they're the ones that fucking... I think they should let the fans vote on the fucking Hall of Fame. Both the NFL and baseball and all that shit. Fuck the sports writers. Fuck them. They're all fucking political anyway. I say let the
but that could be a
fans,
catch-22 though.
I say let the fans vote on who they want to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes. Then you're never going to get a true Hall of Fame, Bobbitt. Never going to get a true Hall of Fame.
If the fans started voting for the Hall of Fame, you would have votes for Chris Benoit.
Good. Good. Because he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I could vote Glacier in.
You could if you wanted to. If you think that Glacier, you probably won't get enough, but you could vote Glacier in. You need a percentage of the vote, though. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to vote for him. He's in. It's just, I don't care about the Hall of Fame because they don't do it right. If Vince McMahon, it's what he thinks and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So really, it's only one person's vote. Fuck that shit. I hate the Hall of Fame. I think it's a joke. That's just my opinion.
Basement.
Yep, both Lex in the Hall of Fame. The cookie sheet's in the Hall of Fame too.
Hell, put him in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I
Well, to answer Drew's question,
go ahead. I won't. Hold on a second, Johnny. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. The reason I say that is I don't care about. I'm going to throw myself out of this discussion because I think the Hall of Fame is nothing but just a joke.
I think the best person they put was Stone Cold. I think the person that they should have kept out of it, believe it or not, there's quite a few of them, but the one that sticks out in my mind the most is the one they put in this past month, Goldberg. I don't think he should have went into the Hall of Fame.
Why not?
Why?
Because compared to what a lot of these other wrestlers have done, Goldberg is not memorable to me. Even though I enjoyed him when he was in WCW, he's not memorable to me. When he came back in 2017, it wasn't, I didn't mark out like I did when Aleister Black and knocked out my damn internet. I was like, that fucker's still alive?
Right. All right.
You also have to take into account that his career with WCW is part of WWE's records now.
Well, I understand that, but there's even controversy over how many wins he actually had. And, to me, there were far better people that you could have put into the Hall of Fame than Goldberg. I'm not saying he doesn't ever deserve to go into the Hall of Fame, but I wouldn't have put him in at this point.
But he was going to get in at some point. He didn't deserve to be the headliner, I can tell you that fucking much, if I was to vote somebody in. But, like I said, I think the Hall of Fame is I have nothing. I don't even want to talk about it.
Why do you keep interjecting?
I'm sorry. I'm just telling you how I feel. It's just a waste of fucking breath. I'm sorry. To me, it is.
But you sit there and you constantly say that you don't care about it. It's a waste of time, yet you constantly have an opinion.
In 5 minutes, JP has told us, I don't care about the Hall of Fame at least 5 times.
So, just real quick, I am covering the draft a little bit tonight, too, as well. Baker Mayfield was taken by Cleveland. They took Johnny Manziel, too. I guarantee it, he will not be a very good quarterback in the NFL. Browns are going to fucking never be any good. Moving on.
So you heard it here, folks. JP is going to Cleveland.
No, he's not. Never going back to Ohio if I don't have to. And Basement's saying it exactly how I feel. It's nothing but a publicity stunt, and that's all it is. Not like a real sports Hall of Fame. It's a publicity stunt. Yes, they put some justified people in there, but it is not a real Hall of Fame.
The best part of the Hall of Fame is the speeches, the night of.
Except for Goldberg when everybody gets up and walks out.
I still haven't watched this year, so I need to figure out a time to do that.
Just say 2 words.
Finish it.
Go ahead, Drew.
Goldberg's speech could have been, in regards to the Hall of Fame, who's next? Good night.
Yeah, literally. Like that.
How about wrestlers in movies? Next topic I had was wrestlers in movies.
What was that?
You had, obviously, wrestlers in movies. You had Hulk Hogan and Rocky. You had, man, I'm fucking blanking. Well, actually, this was kind of backwards. But you had, what the fuck was his name? Fucking Zeus. That was in a movie with Hulk Hogan and then got into wrestling. You want to talk about god-awful wrestlers.
Oh, don't forget Dennis Rodman, then.
Well, the only reason he was there was because he was there to promote the movie. It was the only reason.
He never won a match.
I know.
Well, Andre the Giant was in a few movies.
He was in one.
No, he was in 2.
Was he?
He cameoed in Commando, I think it was, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, no. He was in that TV show, and then he was in Princess Bride.
He was also in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
The point is, he was in a few movies.
You know, I'll say most of the WWE films are god-awful.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about publicity stunt. It's them making fucking movies. But for some reason, I kind of enjoyed Knucklehead with the Big Show.
Yeah, that was kind of a funny movie. It was pretty funny.
I like the fucking ceiling fan hitting him in the head and shit like that. I was just like, they did a decent, even though it was a stupid story, and I could have done without the fucking story. The little quick laughs that they got out of you were good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he surprisingly makes a lot of cameos in movies.
Yeah.
He was
He
was in Elf.
He was in Jingle All the Way, too.
That's what it was, Jingle All the Way. Sorry. He was in
I was
Elf
going to say, what was an Elf? He was also in, was it Boy Meets World or Family Matters, back when he was the Giant?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember which one, but yeah.
I think it was Family Matters.
He was also, it was Family Matters, and he was also Captain Insano in, what Adam Sandler movie was it? Was it Waterboy?
No, he wasn't in Waterboy.
It was one of the Adam Sandler.
Oh,
no, just about everyone else was.
No, something Yard. It was about where Adam Sandler was an ex-football player, and there was a bunch of WWE wrestlers in the movie.
Stone Cold Steve Austin was in it, and the Great Khali.
What was the name of that movie? The Ninth Yard?
The Longest Yard.
The Longest Yard, yeah.
The Longest Yard.
Yeah, Great Khali was in it too.
But there was one where he was this giant wrestler called Captain Insano, and it was one of the Adam Sandler movies.
Waterboy.
That's what he said. He said.
It was Waterboy. Okay.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
And you also can't forget.
He said.
No, you said he was not in Waterboy.
I never said that.
Thank you, Alpha.
Rewind the
You
tape.
also can't forget the Road Warriors and Married with Children.
Apparently you can. Jeez.
Love and marriage.
I thought he was. Never mind. You're right. I thought he was talking about actually being in the movie. I didn't hear you say cameo. Yes, he was. He was Captain Insano on Waterboy.
Well, playing a cameo role is still being in the movie.
I didn't hear you
He
say
was
cameo.
physically
Damn it!
there.
You said he was in the movie.
Yeah, but even if I said he was in the movie, he was technically in the movie. You saw him on screen. He
For
talked.
2 goddamn minutes.
It's still on screen.
I know, but shit.
Undertaker and Sid Vicious got the same kind of cameo thing for a Hulk Hogan movie. What movie was that again?
Fuck, I don't remember what I did 10 minutes ago. Why is everybody yelling at me?
Because you're stupid. No, I'm kidding.
What was the question, Heather? I only heard part of that.
What movie did Undertaker and Sid Vicious cameo in with Hulk Hogan?
They did that?
Yeah.
Was it a porno?
No, they were space bounty hunters chasing him.
Urban Commando.
Shit, I don't know.
I don't remember.
Me neither.
Trekipedia. Is he? Oh no, Trekipedia's not here, is he?
No, he won't be here.
I got you, homie.
Thank you, Bobby.
you look
Suburban
bad.
Commando?
Yeah, Suburban Commando. Something like that, whatever.
Going Commando. Here's one that might raise some eyebrows. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Who played Super Shredder in Ninja Turtles 2?
Oh my god.
No one really knew it was him at the time. I mean, he was credited, but he wasn't known as Kevin Nash at the time, as he was credited.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You just said the answer, Jer.
I know. No one was
Now-
answering, so I threw it out there to save dead air.
Now that I didn't know.
Yeah, I figured I'd raise an eyebrow with that one.
Huh? Did he tear his
Also-
quads in the middle of shooting?
Also, Kevin Nash was in both of the Magic Mike movies.
And he was in The Punisher.
So was someone else. I thought someone else was in that. Maybe it was Nash, and was Triple H in that? Or was it like a remake or something?
Triple H was in Blade.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking of.
Triple H was in Blade 3.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Actually, that was
It was one of those
movie, I think.
those cool movies that I've never seen.
No.
Until after.
It really wasn't that cool, trust
He
me.
was in The Chaperone.
No, well, they were made out to be like cool action movies or whatever.
The first Blade was, but
One of my favorite movies that The Rock was a major star was The Scorpion King.
That was
I was
where
going to
his-
say that was
his beginning of his movie career right there.
that was also the first movie to have WWF films listed in credits.
Yeah.
But they were basically a consultant. They weren't really a film studio at the time, but they had already built the name.
Yeah.
Because, well, actually, I'm talking. Was it the Mummy or was no? In the Mummy, they were like consulted or something, so they got credit. But it was the Mummy where it was the first WWF film,
No.
and then after that came. No what?
The Mummy 2, where the Mummy returns, because that's where the Scorpion King was referenced.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, it wasn't made
meant
by
the Mummy
WWE
series.
Films. The Scorpion King was made, or I think it was produced by WWF, but I don't think it was made. It was directed by, or I don't know. It wasn't a WWF film though.
No, but you see at the beginning movies where it's Lionsgate, in
No, I get
association
you.
with
Yeah,
20th
Lionsgate is
Century
a,
Fox, in association with.
Yeah, Lionsgate is WWE Theaters.
Now it is, yeah.
It was back then.
Okay, whatever. I don't.
And can we all agree the best movie that the Batista was in was Guardians of the Galaxy?
Batista is a god awful actor.
Actually, he's really good in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't care.
The best thing Batista was in was tight blue jeans.
You're weird. So weird.
Blue Tista.
So there's
I
one
kid,
more
by the way,
topic.
I'm not being
There's one more
serious.
topic that I wanted to hit on, and Bobbitt, since he's the champ, he gets one topic. So, what's your topic, Bobbitt?
Oh boy.
The best and worst gimmicks. Remember?
Yeah, best worst gimmicks.
Best and worst character gimmicks.
And I'll go first. I would say Glacier, Gilbert, and who was that?
And the smoked sausage.
Shut
Well,
the
that-
fuck up about the fucking smoked sausage. I'm getting sick
And
of
the
it.
pancake midgets, and
know,
you have to say this: the Boogeyman. Who doesn't love the Boogeyman?
Let me. Glacier. I like the idea of Glacier, but the way that they built him was fucking dumb. I like the idea of it. WWE did it right when they brought out what's his name, Mustafa Ali. They didn't make it a center point of his character. WCW made it the center point of his character. What else? Who else did you say about it? Gilbert.
Gilbert, the pancake midgets, and Boogeyman.
I have no comment on the pancake midgets. and Gilbert was nothing but a comedic relief for Chris Jericho. Because it was all for Chris Jericho to get over is what it was. It worked, but the best gimmick is the Undertaker, bar none. The worst gimmick is probably what's the dude's name? The fucking word the Stormtrooper had. What's his fucking name?
Oh, the Shockmaster.
There you go. That was the worst gimmick. Because the guy couldn't even fucking see out of his fucking mask. That was terrible. But Jinder Mahal is a bad gimmick too. What about you, Drew?
Best gimmick? I mean, it's going to be very cliche, but Stone Cold, The Rock, the Ministry, Undertaker might be an unpopular one, but I thought that was one of the best gimmicks. That was probably my favorite incarnation of the Undertaker.
It's ironic you say. I'm sorry. It's ironic you say that. That was his most hated gimmick.
I know it was.
Go
He
ahead,
thought it was
Drew,
too
sorry.
demonic, too satanic.
Yeah. What were we?
Worst
Go ahead.
Worst gimmicks, though, this is there's a laundry list of them, but my number one worst gimmick, Vicky Guerrero. Vicky fucking Guerrero.
I didn't mind her gimmick. It's just her voice was just so goddamn fucking annoying.
That's why they came out with that gimmick for her, because of her voice.
I know, but I didn't mind the DM character. I didn't mind.
So
The
I think
character. I just didn't like.
I
her
think
voice. What?
I think she received more boos than anyone else that didn't that. Anyone else who gets that amount of boos is because of their heel antics. They get that over with boos. Her boos were legit. Get the fuck off my TV boos.
Not always.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. I mean, yeah.
Man, everyone I knew.
I mean, I did say it's like, God, turn down your fucking voice a little bit. But I honestly didn't mind her character. It's just I didn't care for her voice.
Another one would be there's a guy named he was originally named the Ultimate Solution or the Final Solution, and then WWE found out that was what the Nazis used as a code word for Agent Orange. And WCW had to back out. Huh?
Oh, God.
Go ahead.
So they changed his name to the Ultimate Solution, or it's vice versa. I can't remember which one. But they had to change his name. And he was god-awful anyways. It didn't fucking matter. But it was kind of funny that they unknowingly gave him the same name as the code word for Agent Orange. You know?
Well, whose gimmick was that? I mean, who played?
He was just some big motherfucker. He died young from a heart attack. But he was just he looked like a power lifter that ate potato chips all day. Like a Roy Nelson kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a neck the size of Hulk Hogan's python.
Right.
And a bald head like a cone head.
Right.
But I just can't remember anything else about him. I think that was all he did in wrestling, really. There was also the Yeti.
Yeah, that was a terrible gimmick.
Simon Dean, although it was hilarious to watch him get his ass kicked. He was like the Kurt Hawkins of 2006.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on all day.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny?
Going to be very cliche. I mean, Undertaker and Stone Cold to me were the two best gimmicks. To me, the worst gimmicks were Disco Inferno.
Yes.
And not a lot of people might remember this one, but Festus.
Oh God, dear Lord.
Luke Gallows.
That was a god awful. That was just an awful gimmick.
Biscuits and gravy.
I mean, I did not mind Disco Inferno's gimmick. It was a little too over the top at times. I didn't mind it. I didn't care for it. I just didn't think it was he wasn't good on the mic, was he? Yeah, he wasn't too bad. He wasn't too bad.
And the absolute worst gimmick of all time is JP Summer Sausage Obsession.
Oh, I forgot one. Another gimmick I actually loved was Jimmy Wayne Gang.
Oh God!
I actually did not mind. I did not mind that gimmick. That gimmick, it wasn't stereotypical, but it wasn't that bad because that's actually who he was. They did a special on him. It was on WWE. That's actually who he is. That's what he likes. So
Vladimir Kozlov.
Huh?
Vladimir Kozlov.
Oh God.
Yeah, that gimmick was terrible.
But I will say this though, he had a fucking awesome theme song.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that he did.
One before we get too far away from it, I want to add to the Disco Inferno thing.
Yeah.
If he was a jobber or a low carder his entire career, you would not have said his name. The reason you said his name was because he was overrated. He was given a bunch of title runs he never deserved. And that's where it puts a bad taste in people's mouths.
He was good in the ring, though. He wasn't that bad. It was his gimmick that made him look bad. He was a good wrestler.
But this was in an era where your gimmick made your character, which made your ring.
He was in the era with the NWO in the Attitude Era, Drew.
He was in the wrong era, first of all.
Yeah.
He would have been better off for 2008 or 1993.
He changed his gimmick a little bit, though, and made it work.
A little bit.
Right, he just had the same name, but he didn't come out disco dancing and shit. He actually got a little more rugged.
Yes.
You know, he would have been perfect, and actually, you'll probably laugh at this a little bit. but he would have been perfect in a feud with the Honky Tonk Man over the Intercontinental title if he was around in the 80s.
Yes.
That's what he would have been perfect for.
Yes. You're right. I mean... Fucking Basement said Zach Gowen.
Well, hey, any man with 2 feet... Oh, shit. Never
You
mind.
know Zach Gowen, the one-legged son of a bitch?
Jerry Lawler said in a match he forgot which one was his fake leg and almost pulled off his real leg.
Yeah, that's true.
One-legged man and an ass-kicking.
Eugene?
I liked him.
I like the idea of Eugene, but I wouldn't have made him be a jobber, a glorified jobber the way he was. Because that guy could really wrestle.
I was going to say that. They
That
should
guy
have given it to someone who was... Sorry, Bobbitt, I'll let you go. Go ahead, Bobbitt. Go ahead.
Who would have thought Eugene would have turned out to be Tommy NC 2010's dad?
Oh.
Eugene was not that bad. What's wrong with
Oh.
Spoken.
Has he found out yet?
What's up, Trevor?
I have
He's
no
got
idea.
it by now.
He's got to know by now.
I mean, you don't think Joe or Ken hasn't talked to him at some point this week and said something?
Anyway.
But yeah, off topic. But what I was going to say about Eugene was just like JP said. Nick Dinsmore is too good of a wrestler to carry that role. That role would have been better for someone who had more of a character, better work on the mic, that wasn't so good in the ring. Like Roman Reigns could have played that character perfectly. You know, he's got decent mic skills, but just can't wrestle. So he would have been perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I just thought, the Hurricane.
You don't like
bad.
I don't like the Hurricane.
Me neither. I don't like fucking Shane Helms anyway. He's a fucking douchebag.
And one of the probably most underrated gimmicks before he left was Damien Sandow, the stunt double. That was freaking hilarious.
Yes. Sandow, I love Sandow. I agree. So, that being said, I don't have much more to say. Heather's got to set up for her show. We're gonna...
I can't believe Bobbitt didn't flinch when I called Roman a retard, and he didn't even flinch at it.
I'm going to do a quick recap. Right now, Denver's getting ready to pick their selection. Baker Mayfield went first. Johnny Manziel the second. That's what he is. Saquon Barkley went to the Giants. Sam Darnold went to the Jets. And Denzel Ward went to the Browns. Cleveland just took defensive end Bradley Chubb from North Carolina State. Where the fuck that guy is. I'm just kidding. He's a good DN. Packers wanted him. So with that being said, I'm going to end it here so that Heather can set up for her show. But I'm just going to say goodbye, guys. Thanks for being here. It's been Wrestling Memories 17. Y'all know where to find me. Heather will be coming up right after me. All she's got to do is set her show up. Drew, they can find on Saturdays on Derailed. It goes on after Insomniac. And then he does 30-minute interviews. Do you have any ideas of who you're going to interview this upcoming, Drew?
I've got a couple. One is a surprise, and I've just got to get with everyone else, and I definitely want to do one with the champ.
Yeah?
I just need to be home to do it.
Yeah? You got to do one with me.
I was going to sit down and do it with him on Sunday, but I was wiped from our weekend.
Yeah. Bunch of cookie sheet shots to the head did you in, huh? But no, whenever I'm free whenever, dude. All you gotta do is just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
But other than that, you know where to find Heather's gonna set up for her show.
You said that already.
I know. I'm trying to backtrack. But you can catch Drew on Saturday and doing his 30 minutes with. And then you got Johnny Ray Sinizter. He does a show on Saturday now, is it?
Yeah, Saturday. Usually I'm on before everybody else, before Billy Ricky and Foulmouth and Drew. I'm usually the first one to pop up on Saturday.
Okay.
You're the first voice to be heard after Monetize This, so usually you've got here recently you've had some rage in you coming out of Friday.
But you know what? I'm happy to say we're up to 45. I went from 38 subscribers to 45 after that episode. So thanks to everybody that subscribed. I was really happy about that, and I'm really enjoying it. So
congratulations, man. Keep it up. And then you got the champ. He still hasn't received his belt. Foulmouth Mike Bobbitt. You can find him on the Swamp Ass Podcast. He has also been... I'll let him talk about that. But him and Heather are going to have a show coming up on Saturday night, taking my slot at 6:30 Central Time. They'll be talking about movies and stuff, I think is what it is. If I remember correctly, right, Bobbitt?
Yeah. It's called Behind the Reel. Me and Miss Heather will be talking about movie stuff.
And it'll be on your channel.
Getting everybody hyped up and ready for Avengers Infinity War this weekend.
And that'll be on Foulmouth Bobbitt's network. So with that being said, guys, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week, and hopefully Drew will actually be able to run the show. It was a good conversation. There wasn't very much dead air time like there usually is. Pretty good conversation we had tonight.
yeah.
So we will see you all next Thursday. We'll see you on Monday, Tuesday, and then I don't know if I'm going to do anything on Sunday, but we'll see. So I will talk to you guys probably on Heather's show. I love you guys. Talk to you later.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Are we clear?